Yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Rants YouTube channel. Let's talk NXT. Wasn't a whole lot exciting, really. Let's just go top to bottom, divisions and all that sort of stuff. The NXT title, as we know, for the last few weeks, we've been building to a ladder match next week for the NXT title. Ricky Sainz was automatically instated just because he was the former champion. Made zero sense. Like, everyone else had to qualify, so should Ricky Sainz. And then last week, who did we have qualify? Sean Legacy beat Eli Knight. Someone beat that Elio Lefeu guy, which was Shiloh Hill, I think. And then this week we were gonna have Joe Hendry versus Jackson Drake. I'm getting used to all these new names. However, and that was gonna open up the show. However, Joe Hendry was attacked by Vanity Project. They changed their name. I was gonna call them Swipe Right. And instead of Ava punishing them and going, nah, do you know what, the match is off, you're not getting that shot, because they couldn't technically prove it was them, Ava just said, oh, fine, you're in the match then. Like, bare minimum, you're, right, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. You didn't attack Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry's been attacked. They should still earn it. Still put him in a match. No. Even though it's quite obvious he did attack him, you just can't prove it. Grant him the match. And then what happened later on the night? Joe Hendry's fine. And you know what? We'll just chuck Joe Hendry in the match as well anyways. Cool. Make it a 7-man ladder match. I don't mind. I mean, I can tell they want to push their Evolve champion and their new signing. But they also want to push their gimmick, which is Joe Hendry, which I think is massively overrated. It was cool for 2 weeks and now I'm just bored of it, to be honest. He even did the spin at the end when he was injured, which was just so pathetic. And then we're going to have 2 more qualifying matches. Miles Bourne, Dion Lennox. Ethan Page still trying to hype up Miles Bourne, still trying to give him all this advice. And so was Ricky Sainz. And it's weird seeing Ricky Sainz and Ethan Page getting along. But they are, and I kind of love it. It makes a whole lot of sense, actually. Because, you know, they're both from AEW, both came to WWE, made success. But because they had that big feud, it's just so weird saying it. But I don't mind it. And Ethan Page actually tried to help Miles Bourne in the match by giving him the title. Wanted him to be spiteful and hit Dion with the title. Of course, he had to play the good guy move. And then he lost to Dion Lennox, which I'm not mad at because Dion Lennox is a great talent. Yeah, and then Ethan Page had a go at him. And then he did use that spite and he did hit Ethan Page with the title. I'm not even sure where Ethan Page trying to mentor Miles Bourne came from. But we're only setting up a Miles Bourne, Ethan Page match, maybe even feud, over the North American title. And they're probably going to put it on Miles Bourne. And I really don't want them to, because Ethan Page is doing such a good job. I don't want a new champion. It's rare that I don't want a new champion for someone who's been champion for so long. But he's doing such a good job. I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, it's as simple as that. And then the last match of the night, weirdly, but the last qualifying match, what's he called? The guy from Evolve, and I keep forgetting his name. Whenever the camera's off, I remember his name, but when it's on, I just don't know. Oh man, that's gonna really annoy me. The new Evolve guy against Andre Chase, which I think Andre Chase is... what is Andre Chase? He's been there so long. Loads of people love him. And he's got students and all that sort of stuff. But he ain't good. He ain't intimidating. He ain't good. So, like... What is his point anyway? But he lost the match. He wasn't going to win anyway. And Keanu Carver got the win over Andre Chase. That's his name. And I like his finisher. Originally, I thought he was just going to hit run a power slam, but it's kind of like a twist to it, and it kind of looks like a carve, like you're carving something. Fits his name. Yeah, he's a decent presence. And after the match, they all had a promo. Keanu, Shiloh, Sean, Jackson, Dion, And then out came Ricky Saints cutting his shit. And then out came Joe Hendry, pretending like the injury didn't exist. And they all had one big fight. Anyone surprised? No. As for the NXT Women's Championship, seen nothing, heard nothing. No JC Jane. Fatal Influence were there, but no JC Jane. We had a little bit of Kendall Gray maybe rekindling it a bit, because Ren's trying to convince Charlie that her and Kendall Gray did good as a tag team. And all Kendall's thinking about is, I know I can beat JC Jane for that NXT Women's title. So maybe it's going to get restarted again. And I don't mind it because Kendall Gray, great talent, as well as JC Jane. I don't really care who wins, but I can see that title going to Kendall Gray soon. And I did mention that Fatal Influence showed up. They showed up to distract Zarya in her match, costing her the match against Thea Hale. That match got set up because Thea Hale was trying to support Zarya because Zarya was concerned about her and Soul, and Thea was like, I can relate, and Zarya was like, no, you can't, and they started arguing. And they had a match, and then thanks to Fatal Influence, who are jealous and mad that Zaruka got the opportunity, the tag team titles, but really we're just building that feud between Soul Ruka and JC Jane. They cost Zarya that match. She then attacked the heel afterwards, and the Zarya heel turn is just so coming. I mean, we can see it absolutely clear as day. And we do have that tag team match next week, Zaruka versus the Elegance brand for the TNA Knockout Tag Team Championships. Fair enough. And speaking of tag titles, Dark State opened up the show defending those tag titles against OTM, and I believe it ended in DQ because Vanity Project came out to attack, Hank and Tank came out to stop them, and then out came Chase U to get involved, and then the Culling came in and destroyed everyone. First of all, adding to what the Cullings said they were going to do, because Izzy Dame held up her end of the bargain, and Sean and Nicholls said, we need to hold up our end of the bargain, and they did, and they were the last one standing. But also, the most important takeaway from this, we have a tag division once again in NXT. It's been so long, and NXT tag divisions have famously always been on fire, but for some reason this last year, while the women's division and the men's division have been thriving, these tag divisions dead. And there's a couple of tweaks here and there that I would change, like Saquon Sugars being the tag guy in Dark State blows my mind because I really think he's the one, not Dion Lennox. I mean, Dion Lennox is very good, but like I really see something in Saquon Sugars. And also just like when I see Sean Spears in the tag division with Nico Vance, I'm just like, why did we cut Brooks Jensen off anyway? Why could it be Brooks and Nico in that tag division and then Sean go after the NXT title or the North American title? It makes no sense, but here we are. And Chase, you got a talking to from Andrew Chase for that anyway, but it is what it is. And talking to Culling, you see the transitions here. Izzy Dame sat ringside while Thea Hale and Zarya had their match, and then got chased out there by Tatum Paxley, who showed up. And yet, we're still not getting that Tatum Paxley Izzy Dame trilogy all for the title, because next week, when we have the TNA Knockouts tag titles, we have the NXT title all on the line. We are getting Izzy Dame defending that Women's North American title against Thea Hale and against Lola Vice. Lola Vice previously beat Izzy Dame. Thea Hale, the former champion. Both women won that match, so they're both getting it at the same time. So that's pretty exciting. I really do hope Izzy does not lose the title straight away, because it's kind of been passed around like hot potato. And the former champion, Blake Monroe, who I think if WWE still, or NXT, if you're counting it as the same thing, if they went with their original plan, Blake would still be champion. And now instead she's actually in a feud with Jada Parker, where she's getting Nikita Lyons to fight her battles for her because she's shit terrified. And Nikita said she'll do it for her. And then they had a match, and Jada won, and then Blake Monroe cut a promo on the screen in a house, which was weird because she was in the arena 2 seconds ago, and just like talking that shit, like, you ain't me, Eventually we're gonna get that match, and it'll be good. But until then, we're just gonna wait for it. And the only other thing to cover is just something minor. Obviously, we know Lexis King's now joining. Stacks and Ariana Grace running around. And Tavion Heights had a couple of things to say. Made fun of Lexis King the other week for losing to him in a matter of seconds. So they ran it back. And thanks to Stacks and Ariana, Lexus King got the win. And this is looking like a new faction now, and I don't mind it, because since they got rid of the Heritage Cup Championship and Lexus King lost it, Lexus was not really doing anything at all. So, fair enough. I'm to the faction. Two very good heels who are hated. Do it. And Tony D'Angelo, that's what I didn't talk about. He came in the arena. Apparently, Ava bailed him out of jail because he was in jail in the first place. And it came to like a bit of a peace treaty. You know, Ava was like, look, we need you in NXT. Are you in or are you out? He said, I'll tell you next week. Next week, I'll explain what all of this is for, because this is a new version of Tony D'Angelo. And if you ask me, Tony D'Angelo should be in that ladder match, because it's such an obvious winner in Ricky Saints. If anyone else wins, I'm going to question why. And I would like to see Tony D'Angelo with the title, to be honest, because he shouldn't have long left in NXT. He's been there so long, and when you look at the names there, he's probably the biggest name in there besides Ricky and Ethan, and they could still go for a little while in NXT. I think Tony D'Angelo should be moving up to the main roster, so this should be his time to take that NXT title and probably drop it at Stand and Deliver and then move on. But no, here we are. But that's my opinions on NXT. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.